I wanted to see examples of each line item, particularly when you talk, you have many lines, and it was almost red. Not the color red, but the mean red. You want to memorize it and speak from your heart. And give examples always. If you have one of the slides later on, when you say anything, give just like give an example. People like to have examples, not just abstract. And this applies to other areas also. For all of us, we need to look 80% of the time or 85% to the people. Eye contact, one by one. 15% just to memorize or to remind yourself of what you want to say. If you deviate and look there, kind of use the personal contact with the audience. For the PowerPoint, I suggest that you use a larger font and always start with the slide that has, you have 10 lines on it. Start with one, give the overall thing, and then break it down immediately with the first one. And go with the size, the typical size for PowerPoint. They say it is 44 to 54 font size, and don't add more than 4 lines per slide. For headlines, for titles, you put 60 to 70 font size. This is to help people look, and nobody will blame you for being so clear. A slide typically would stay for 5 to 10 seconds, no more on the screen, so that people don't die. So keep it going on. You have one slide to show overall, and then you take one by one, because you speak one by one anyway. So you break it, big, and animation, not animation, I mean a visual thing to help people see what you are talking about. This way, each slide will go 4 seconds and move on. People will be attentive to what you say. Use your colors decently. So, what do they say here? You can drop these 3 lines that most successful companies say we will finish ahead of schedule, under budget, per specs or more. Meet or exceed the expectations. The expectations would be, say, specifications, because expectations kind of generic word. Specifications shows more. The cutting, where you cut your title, I noticed this not only in this presentation but generally. And one slide said communicating with your in one line and then company. So many people don't give attention to this, but if you want to cut it communication with your company. Make it make sense each line. But make line like communicating with your company. Kind of some people don't watch for that, even in the audience, or something like that. I think that was all I have.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Cheney?
Probably a lot more detail than I'm going to give you. I mean, the biggest thing, when do they present? When do they actually go?
We leave on Wednesday.
So this week?
Yeah, this week.
Okay, so you've got a limited amount of time, and I know you've got other things you have to do, but to me the biggest and most important thing for this part of it is preparedness, preparing for the presentation. And you'll cut out a lot of the ums and hands in pockets or unsure what to do or looking at the slide instead of at the audience if you spend a lot of time preparing your particular slides. And it just takes practicing actually verbally going through the presentation. You can think about it and read all you want, but when you actually say it, it's different. So practice saying it, okay? That's what my recommendation to you, most important recommendation for the next 2 days. Practice actually presenting your slides so that you don't have to look at the slides too much. So you can focus on things like, you know, putting my hands in my pockets or holding them back. You know, your hands should be at your sides unless you're using them to either point to the slide or to, you know, describe something like we're building layers up. You know, so you're using it to supplement what you're saying. Okay. Otherwise, the hands should be down at the sides. Okay. So really, it's all based on the preparation piece, preparing the oral presentation. That's probably the most key thing. Now, would you mind going back on some of the slides? go back to like the first picture you show of the job site with the color coding.
Site logistics plan probably.
Yeah, it's the logistics section, that first one. I just have a question. So is the gray the roadways?
Yeah,
Why is the roadways black, the box?
I said it was supposed to be gray. I changed
Oh,
it.
okay, I didn't hear you say
I
that.
changed it
I was
last
like,
night, but it went back again.
Yeah.
I sent it back to
We'll make 'em
Make
black
sure you
then.
get that fixed.
Yeah.
Make them black. If it's not going to cooperate
Yeah.
with you.
And then just to follow up some of the things Dr. Wabi said about, readability. I mean, you got words on there, those aren't readable, and I don't know if you
I
intend for
don't
them
know
to be.
I don't know how to bold it. I kept
But like
it
when you
last
do
time.
like the org chart later, that you presented the org chart, none of that's readable. So I don't know, if you intend for it to be readable, if they have a hard copy in here,
They have a copy. It's just
then it's probably less critical that it be readable if it's in here.
I
But,
think it should be readable on screen too. So.
but think about, I don't know, you don't have a lot of time to modify slides at this point, but,
They can get her done.
larger font and less words is usually better when you present.
I mean, sorry to add to what Dr. Cheney is saying, see the space around it is kind of dead space. So if you blow this maybe 20% the square where you have the plan, and then each one of these 10%, you will fill up the wasting without killing. And you bold the title, for example. The bold you go to if you go on, there is B for B.
Okay, guys. The major comment I had is that it took you a long time to actually show me your design, and I think perhaps you might consider doing the design, the value added stuff. Remember we talked about that being what's going to win it. Doing more of that at the beginning. I know you talked about the green roof, but I need to see pictures. And, I need to see your design a little bit more towards the front. How you did the emergency room, how you did the heliport and the helicopter. Talk a little bit more about that at the very beginning, I think, or emphasize it a little bit more at the beginning, because I think that will help you a lot.
Well, I think that ties back too with some of the comments Dr. Wabi made about start with the big picture and then break off
the subsections.
We'll talk about the roof, we'll talk about the helipad, whatever.
Yeah, and then you can start key and safety and on that, and quality and on that, and and so that the design itself is more important than what it is right now.
Now, there is one slide if you want to add it, because somebody would ask you, go to the value added slide, value added the title. If somebody asks you, what is the value to start with? You want to be ready for something like that. So you can have a slide saying, value is, as well as this and this and this. The value added will add this and this and this. So it make it more, that's what I'm gaining, the whole thing.
Yeah, you can define, even in that slide right there, just define what value added is, so that everybody's on the same page. You can do it right there on that slide.
It's essentially cost and benefits.
Right.
So that's an easy way to describe it.
Okay.
You
Very
guys did a
good.
good job.
Good job.